Hey everybody, this is Rich from the Metal Cell podcast. I'm delighted to welcome Jake Wallace of Elder Druid to the show. How are you, man?
Very well, man. Nice to see you guys.
Yeah, and thanks for joining us as well, Danielle.
No worries at all.
Good. And how was your weekends, Danielle, maybe?
Yeah, pretty good. I couldn't drink at the weekend, but I went to MGLA on the Friday.
Yes,
and
go on, tell us.
It was very, very good. Very professional lads coming on. Came on for like only an hour, I think, just over the paid for. But it was very concise, no shit, no talking to the crowd.
Oh, okay.
You Costa was supporting them. And I can't remember the name of the first band.
Procession of Spectres.
So yeah, it was a great gig. There was such great buzz about the place, and yeah, so the only disadvantage of being the sober one is like having to drag people out at a certain hour and round them off.
You're not naming and shaming, no?
No, I won't name and shame. But no, it was a really, really good gig, and like black metal wouldn't be my number one, but could not enjoy it. Like they were so professional, so tight, and the sound was excellent. The crowd was great. Yeah, all around fantastic gig.
Yeah, I saw him in Brutal Assault with thousands of people in front of me, and they were pretty cool even then, you know.
Yeah.
So Dolan's would be just perfect for that now, I'd say.
Yeah, yeah.
I heard similar things about the Belfast show. They just came out, they didn't speak to anybody, like the hoods and everything, just silence, played music, fucked off. Like I really like that. I think that's class.
Yeah.
Though I didn't get down to it.
Yeah, there's certain bands. There's another one or two that just don't interact with the crowd as well. It depends, you know. If the crowd are into them, you get away with it. But if you're trying to win over a crowd and you don't talk,
it's better than coming out and talking way too much.
Oh yeah,
that's a big issue.
That happens far too often. Like,
yeah,
you could name and shame. But I was talking to Ollie from Corrosa, and he said Procession of Spectres were the band of the night for him.
Yeah, they were brilliant. They were on when I came in, so I missed the start of them. But,
so that's Liam of Soothsayer, and I think the guitarist, the Soothsayer, and Dahi from Gallock.
Oh, I spotted him in both the place. Actually, I didn't have a chat with him, but I spotted him in both the place. All right.
Were they kind of wearing disguises or hoods or something as well? Or
the singer was, but I was at the very back of Dolan's when they were on. I was chatting to Brian Herr, and the singer had like choke, I suppose you could call it. I had a great vibe about it. Like, you know, he was just kind of very kind of mellow on stage. It was really, really cool. Definitely want to check them out again.
Yeah, and since we're on about gigs, Jake, you have a rake of gigs coming up, man. I hope you've done your homework on it and that they're all wrote down in front of you, or are they stored in
the brain's not too foggy today.
So the main one, which is, and you're down near us, you're down with Daniel anyway, down with Limerick, is with Conan.
Yep, this weekend.
Yeah.
So it's funny this time because it's Dublin first, then Limerick, then Belfast. Most of the time you do like any kind of Irish tour, it usually starts with us up in Belfast, then Dublin, then you've always got the big long drive from either Limerick or Cork. So it's actually really nice that we're finishing Sunday night in Belfast, 2 miles up the road and go home rather than the big long travel from Cork.
Yeah.
So I think it's the first time that's actually happened. I'd imagine they're coming over like Liverpool, Dublin, because I think they're kind of based around like Merseyside kind of area.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Then go back Belfast to Conryan or maybe Liverpool. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Third Island actually are supporting me in Limerick.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
they've a nice line of merch out at the moment. Plug. It should be on sale at the gig.
That'll supersede our amount of merch because we have fuck all.
Really?
Yeah, the most recent the Sorceress shirts we got done. I think there's 3 of those left, and then we did a sale a couple of weeks ago just to get rid of like the odd hoodie and stuff. But I didn't realize how little stuff we actually had, and it's like fuck, we've got this Conan tour coming up, and we've got about 4 t-shirts. So there's plenty of vinyl, so hopefully there's enough people to buy the records, and at least we can sell those instead.
Yeah, and like we'll say What have you got a merch line in store, obviously, for the album? Is that other than, are you waiting for it, or is it ready?
Well, the album's the big elephant in the room because it's taken so bloody long to finish. I hate even giving deadlines to anybody anymore because we just had so many stoppages, not necessarily bad ones. Like Mikey had a kid, Brian had a kid. That took up a massive chunk of time where like even having like Daniel's an added guitarist now or added bass player to get 6 guys in one room, even once a week, is close to impossible. Especially half of us work days, half of us work nights. So I think between Bloodstock and must have been October time, we had about 2 practices over months. Wow. So it's been really, really hard just to get time, and that's why it's taken so long. And we were close to finishing the whole thing, and then the final song, which we waited to the very end to actually write, it's like a 10-minute monster, and we realised that
Pandora's box, is it?
It's Armada.
Oh, you've changed it around a bit, no?
It was the last song we finished.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah.
I think we maybe have is it first in the track list? Yeah. But it was the last one we actually completed. All the other ones were a couple of years ago. We had bits and pieces, but Armada was completely fresh at the very end of recording. So we recorded it in drop A, and we usually play in drop B. So then we were like, you know what? All those other songs might sound good in drop A. So we literally went back and re-recorded everything.
Oh, God.
No way.
Oh yeah. The whole thing was like almost like the amount of tracks we had because of the added bass, and I'd maybe had 3 or 4 guitar tracks and 3 or 4 vocal tracks, and everything was just scrapped and back to square one because we're like, we can't have one song in drop A and the rest in drop B, knowing that like, they all could have been a wee bit heavier. So yeah, it is.
And is Dale involved in producing this?
Yeah, Dale's he's the man in charge of the whole thing.
Poor Dale.
Between him and Brian, we've got a lot of really good microphones and recording equipment up in the room. So,
and Daniel can kind of produce as well, can't he?
Yeah, he did. I think his degree was like sonic arts or something like that at Queen's. So the 3 of them have fairly good knowledge of music production and recording and stuff. The rest of us just listen and nod. Yeah. So it's good to have that because we wanted to be able to have the freedom to just take our time and see what we come up with rather than getting into a room for 3 or 4 days and regretting stuff. But as you can see, it takes a bloody long time.
I'm trying to think. Yes, he played in Belfast in January of this year, wasn't it? Or was it February? Was it February maybe?
Which show was it?
That was your headliner. You were headlining that night.
Was that Crypt of the Ref we played?
It was actually, yeah.
7.5 tons of beer and stuff playing that one.
Yes, because remember Evans Worn Out were up at the same night, and we went to one and shot across.
Yeah, that's the one. I can't remember which month that was. I've no idea.
I think it was February actually.
Could have been, aye.
Yeah, and that was amazing to see for the first time in I don't know how long. So then of course you got announced for the Siege, and it was just fucking, because like the main stage in the Siege, the sound you got that day, as I said, like there was literally cracks appearing on the ceiling and the balcony were so fucking heavy, man. And what was that like to play?
Oh, it was fucking brilliant because the first time we played the main stage in Dolan's was, I don't know, Siege 2018 or something like that. I'm not sure. But we were on at 12:30 at night. Very last band to play, and we were like, "Oh, this is amazing! We're closing the main stage." And it was, I think Ahab played that time. Pretty sure Conjure, Dead Witches. They got that was on that tour. We did with Dead Witches, but we realised at 12:30 at night, everyone's either being sick or they fucked off home. And it was like a hell of a lot less people than we did, but still had a great crowd that night. Don't get me wrong, but the difference between that and most recent Siege, where it literally was packed out, it was a lovely thing.
Yeah, myself and Sean from 10 Ton Slug were up at the front, man, and we were just like looking at each other going, oh yeah. And just even the sheer heaviness that was washing over us, we weren't getting the full effect of it. With those, I thought on the balcony you had a better overall sound. So they were
told me actually that they went to the toilet and like the urinals were shaking when you were playing.
Oh, fantastic. I'm putting that on as a live review from now on. You're checking.
Yeah. You're doing it right when you do that. Like,
I think it's nice how the height of the stage as well. Because if you're standing, especially someone around your height, Richie, you're standing and you're pretty much like getting it straight from the cab into your face rather than, sometimes it'll be low and you're just kind of up here and it's hitting you here. So it probably is more of a direct, like, bass in the face experience.
Yeah. Remember we had John on, Danielle, and I just asked him about curveballs and he just assumed that she'd only one basis, and the fact that he had two suddenly kind of went, oh shit moment. We have to organise another.
I made sure to email a couple of days before because it was like, he might not be aware that we're playing with two bass players now. So we brought a second cab down and it was just making sure, because I didn't want to come in and like sort of interrupt somebody else's changeover and leave the cab off when we arrived.
Yeah.
So I said to him, I was like, should we just wait and bring it on when we were coming on, or do you want us to leave it in now? And so it was fine though. Like the changeover was enough time, like a good 15, 20 minutes. There's plenty of time to set up the cab and get a microphone on it and stuff. So it's good that we were able to bring it, because obviously you don't want to be showing up to a festival like that and relying on a second bass cab, because there's never a second bass cab.
Yeah. So now that we were talking and just wondering, had you the lineup for Crypt of the Rift sorted when you played the Siege?
What the most recent one?
The one that's coming up now, in June.
Kind of. It's just we're definitely going to be on it, and I was speaking to the lads at Sage, because I think someone said to me, I think it was Mark Russell from Belfast. He ran into me and he was like, "Oh man, Soothsayer getting to Belfast," and I was like, "Don't you worry, I'm on this." And then
class, okay.
I ran into Liam and I said to him, I was like, "Yeah, man, this is definitely happening. Just I'll be in touch in a couple of days' time." So I knew I wanted those guys, and then I wasn't sure if Slug were back playing again or what the story was. And I saw they announced the Galway show and saw loads of people being like, Belfast. So I was like, right, this is going to be a good big double header, get both of them up. And I didn't think both of them would do it. Like I thought, like if I get one, I'll be happy. But I got both, and I was like, yes, this is going to be unbelievable. And
of course, you've got Nomadus as well. Freddie.
Yeah, fantastic band. Really love those guys.
Yeah, I'm delighted to see him on the bill. And True Home.
Oh, fuck me, man. They blew my face off. It was the Tool after party in Fibbers. It was True Home supporting Tombs. And it was Oren from Overdrive who was organising the whole thing. And I arrived at the gig just before True Home started playing. And I was talking to Oren because I missed him at Bloodstock. We were supposed to do an Druid interview. We took so long putting up the tent and fucking about and leaving merch off that we missed him. So I was having a chat about that. And then he said, you're going to love this band, man. Check out True Home. Like, don't miss them. It's like a two-piece bass and drums in the style of Om, like the meditative drone kind of stuff. But as much as I love Om, there's times where it gets pretty boring. Like there's no two ways around it. But these guys were just so fresh and interesting, but still had the real drone-y kind of rhythmic style. But it was like fucking in-your-face riffs as well. I stood at the front, like hugging the monitor, just like, Jesus, these guys are fast. It's the same thing. Like straight after, I was like, lads, you have no idea who I am, and I apologise for being so random, but I run gigs in Belfast. I'll be in touch soon. They didn't realise I was going to be in touch like 15 hours later. I was like, can I get this fucking line up sorted? So I just got straight onto them.
Jesus Christ. And here I was thinking you'd all this planned meticulously 6 months in advance.
Well, some of it was, some of it was spontaneous.
Yeah. And can we convince you to go up, Daniel?
I'm tempted. I'm very tempted to go up, actually. Depends what way I am in terms of money and stuff like that around then. Because I've got so much coming up. But absolutely buzzing for this weekend. Like,
oh, yeah. I can't wait.
So much heft. And I'm going to see the tent on Slug in Galway on Friday. And then into Conan and yourselves.
I think Tombs are playing in Limerick on Friday night.
I think it's Friday. I think they're in Garcia, yeah.
We're staying with we Owen from Song from a Tree.
Oh yeah, we met Owen over in Desert Festival.
Oh Jesus! If I start telling stories about that, I'll be on all night. So I'm just going to skip over that. But he said he would put us up for after Dublin and Limerick because of the way it was working with Dublin first. It would have meant us driving the whole way back to Belfast, then driving to Limerick, because we looked at like even hostels, like the most basic bullshit hostel in Dublin was still costing about €260 for like 5 hours. Because Mikey's, this is another thing, Mikey can't play the Limerick show, so we won't have the 2 bass players there. But like Daniel's going to be playing guitar, and with the 5-piece, he just have to look after the kid. And there's some kind of half serious thing that we can't avoid. So he's playing Dublin and then driving home, and the 5 of us are leaving the Dublin show, going to Limerick to stay at Owen's house. Then he's giving us a big tour of Limerick the next day, because there's no driving involved. We're going to go see the castle and fuck around all day, and go to the gig that night, then back up to Belfast for the final day.
Wow, class.
Deadly.
So you'll finally get to see Elder Druid then, yeah?
I've seen him with Bloodstock.
I know, I'm on about this year.
Oh, this year, yeah.
Yeah.
And can you reveal if we'll be hearing some new stuff, Jake, or is it going to be?
Yes. It is the first time in a while we've been restricted to like a half-hour set, and that literally means 4 songs. The way things are going at the minute, so probably just one of the new ones on this one. Like at Siege, we did kind of 3 classics, 2 new ones.
Yeah.
It's good to keep the classics, especially gigs like that. Like instead of coming out with fresh stuff that people don't know, the ratio of 1 to 3 seemed sensible. So
yeah,
any headline shows like we have coming up, or any longer sets, so like 45 minutes, 50 minutes, we try and squeeze a lot more of the new stuff into it. But when you only have half an hour to play with, and you got ignorantly long songs like ours, then that's the best we can do.
Yeah,
it's fair.
It's going to be difficult, and I don't know how many brownie points I've left, but at the moment I am going to fucking Worn Out, man. I've seen him so many times now already, but I'm going to see Worn Out support the Cro-Mags in Limerick. Okay?
Yeah, I'm not trying to do that.
2 days later, because I was supposed to be in America for that tour, but unfortunately I couldn't go to America. Shout out to my buddy Jim, who was over there. That's why I was going visiting. But now we're going to Greece instead, so that cuts back into some of June, which I didn't think I was around for. Worn Out don't have a driver to get him up to Belfast. So for the second time this year, I'm going to be the roadie for him and get him up to Belfast. And Alex of Last Vinci there, he's got a kind of minibus. So I'm taking his bus with the lads up to Belfast.
Nice.
So we're going to try and stay the night, because I ain't going fucking back from Belfast to Cork in the one night. And then I think the following week, maybe week and a half then, is Crypto the Riff.
It's Friday the 1st of July, which was lovely as well, because I had about 4 dates that I wanted it to possibly be on. And I spoke to Mickey, the manager in Voodoo. And the 1st of July was the one I wanted, because it's a Friday, it's in July, so people are off uni and stuff like that. And it's right after payday as well. It's like, this is the perfect, people have money, it's hopefully sunny, Friday, the perfect date. So I'm really glad I got that as well, because that makes a hell of a difference.
Yeah. At the moment, I'm going, unless I've been going to be instructed otherwise. Fingers crossed. Now, you're also supporting Elephant Tree.
Yep.
And that entails a Cork gig.
It does. Yep. That's is it October, I think.
Yeah.
Get mixed up, because there's a lot of stuff in the pipeline around that time of the year that isn't announced yet. Just bands I'm trying to bring over. Do this whole circuit of like Belfast, Dublin, Limerick, or Cork. Like,
yeah.
Most of the time, bands want to do a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so you need to pick 3 of the cities. But on the off chance we'll do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's perfect, because that's pretty much the 4 best cities.
Yeah.
I don't want to take sides in cities in Ireland, but for me anyway, that's the 4 best places to play. So yeah, October time, Elephant Tree, the first time we came across them, we got offered to support them in the Black Heart in London about 5 years ago, which is completely out of the blue. Got a message from this girl, and it was 2 weeks notice. And obviously we had to turn it down. We were like, can't get time off work, get flights, accommodation, all that shit sorted in 2 weeks. And it was that was a huge gig for us then. Like, play the Black Heart, it was our first ever London show. supporting
Great venue.
a band that I really, really loved. So kind of kept in contact with the guys. And then at Desert Fest in London, I would run into him now and again, and we're always saying, "We need to let's get this show sorted." And they've never played Ireland at all, so finally got around to it and organised a few dates over here.
Man, the Cork venue isn't announced yet, but I'd imagine it's
But yeah,
either probably Fred's or Cypress Avenue, I'd say.
yeah,
Or
but it's paranoid based doing that, so we'll have to wait and see what Mark comes up with.
Yeah, I was talking to Mark. I'm talking to Mark next week. He's on the show next week, so looking forward to that.
Oh, deadly.
Yeah, myself and Howard are having a chat with him. Now, there's also Riff-Olution Festival.
Yep.
That's in September in Sheffield. Sheffield is a city I'd love to go to, man. They have a great scene over there, man.
Dude, like that whole kind of chunk of the Midlands. Sheffield's one of the first places, actually was the first place we ever played in England.
Really?
Yeah, it was. It was a place called the Royal Standard, which was just like it's actually a really nice bar, like really good stage. And it had a big back, like sun beer garden thing with like picnic tables. And I remember like sitting having pints with a dog lying on a table beside us. It was like a really lovely place. And kind of traditional, like got a big like roast beef dinner and all this kind of thing. Like, but yeah, it's Riff-Olution used to be in Manchester in Rebellion. We played it on the UK tour we did with Bad Kush, the chubby thunderous Bad Kush.
Oh, yeah.
Always shorten it to Bad Kush, so I'll go through the whole tongue twister trying to say the name. But we played Riff-Olution that time, and the great thing about it in Rebellion was there was 2 stages, no bands clashed the whole day, and there was so many bands in the lineup, and literally as soon as one would finish and all of them would start, so the crowd were just going like running over here and then running over here, like just this big like wave of people. So that was amazing because it was impossible to miss a band. It was like 2 sides of the venue. But there's a guy, Danny, that runs, I think he plays in Ritual King, the band like around Manchester. But they changed the venue and they're playing in Network in Sheffield now. Okay. So we are doing a wee bit of a tour around that, which is all not announced yet. Still confirming a few dates, but it should be a September, probably just in England tour. They might have a date in Wales or a date in Scotland or something, but most of them will be in England. So that's what we're basing Riff-Olution around.
Yeah, Dog Tired are on it as well. Snowmatics and King Witch, they were on this show, so people would know of them through that.
It's a huge lineup. He really, really pulled it out of the bag, even across both days. Godflesh headlining the Sunday as well.
Yeah. And are you going to stay the 2 nights, or what are you going to do?
Probably just do, because we play the Saturday, so I think we're doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's the 4 dates that are confirmed. So the Sunday will be off somewhere else to play. Unfortunately, because there's so many bands on the Sunday I'd love to see, but it's not really financially viable to go and play like 3 dates and then just go see bands for the day. Like if we're going over there to play music, play music.
Are you going to be going as a 6-piece? At the moment?
Yeah, as things stand, everything should be sweet. I keep reminding, like every 2 weeks or so, my guys, remember September, make sure it's all booked off. A lot of, it's like looking after kids, I swear to God, all the time, just like, remember this, remember that.
Yeah.
You got to.
Happens to the best of us, Jake. So let's go and delve a small bit into Carcosa. It is finished.
Yes, well, the music is, I think, as it stands at the minute, Daniel has to, because we record it live as a 5-piece and then got Daniel to do overdubs. So I think he's got overdubs to do in 2 of the songs, and Greg has vocals to overdub on maybe 2 of them. He's kind of got like a bass layer of vocal for all the songs, but just like with the wee nuances, and sometimes he'll do like a whisper track, like turn down really, really low, so you get this kind of underlying whisper coming through the big growly shouty stuff. So yeah, it's pretty much on its last legs being done eventually. But once we get these gigs out of the way, Dale's been out of the country for a month. This is another thing that's been slowing us down, because we can't do anything if he's not there. He went on a European trip by himself without flying. He decided to go on trains like all over Europe. So he went to he met us at Desert Fest in London, and before I was even out of bed the next morning, he was in Zurich. He's got the fucking Eurostar from London to Zurich. It took like 7 hours, and I was still asleep in my Premier League. Insane.
Any questions you want to ask Jake about the new album, Danielle?
Yeah, like I suppose there's been, you kind of have answered it with the tuning, but there's been like a progression with all of your albums, and I kind of found that like Golgotha was such a more full kind of sound. Do you think that that's kind of carried over to the new album, or is it even a different sound again, or what?
I'd say it's very similar to Golgotha in terms of like the depth and the style, but we haven't really went off in any other, well, maybe except one. There's a shorter song that's been more of Daniel's influence, and it's more a hardcore song than a doom song, which is, so that's the only kind of direction. Like everything else is pretty much out of the recipe book, and then there's one that he kind of brought in, was like, here, he always said it was a Druid riff, and I was like, no, that's a hardcore riff that you want to do in the song. Like, so, but it's great. It sounds amazing because you've got like the 2 guitars, 2 bass, playing a hardcore riff in a doom band. So it does sound really, really good. But aside from that, it's pretty much the same kind of formula as Golgotha.
Yeah.
And the tracks are the same: Armada, Carcosa, Coffin Dropper, Gambit, Castor, The Ingredient, and Pandora's Box.
Yeah, that's it. Coffin Dropper is the hardcore one.
Is it really? Class name.
It's a wee bit short. I think it's only maybe like 4 minutes or something, which is a pretty short song for us.
It is actually, yeah. So there's a good possibility that'll be played live.
Yeah, I'd love to, because it's just a real rager. It just punches really, really hard. It's nice. You finish it and you're actually out of breath instead of in a daze.
And do you have a deal with Interstellar Smoke Records? Is it?
Yep, that's the one. They were friends of some of the guys we stayed with in Poland when we did the European tour.
Okay.
They sort of work hand in hand. There's Galactic Smokehouse and Interstellar Smoke. So Interstellar are going to do all the vinyl, and then Galactic Smokehouse are going to do the CDs and tapes. So they did a deal with Electric Octopus recently as well. And the nice thing is everything they do is like handmade. So these little like tape socks, like sort of like a what do you call it? Like a Christmas stocking. It's like a stocking with the tape into, and they were all like Electric Octopus themed. And these guys, they literally get like 20 people around a table and be like, let's fucking make some stuff. And they do like eco-friendly CD packaging and all this stuff. Like they're really, really amazing. Lovely guys as well. So God knows what that's going to turn out like with the CDs and tapes. That's entirely up to them. But the main thing is getting the vinyl done. That's the main thing I care about.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
I've slowed down. Since last time we spoke, I'm buying a hell of a lot less vinyl, which
you couldn't keep it up, man. You couldn't keep that pace up at the rate you were buying. I was just going, what the fuck, man? He's just going to run out of space and money.
That's why. Like I filled the cabinet and I've got no more space now, so that was the perfect excuse. I think the last thing I got was, I think it was Emma Ruth Rundle's latest album.
Oh yeah, she's touring this summer actually.
Yep, she's playing Belfast in St Patrick's Church, which is a venue I've never been to. It's like a church in North Belfast, I think. And they played Nosferatu in it recently with the guy who did the soundtrack. Can't remember his name, Joseph something. But he was there with Nosferatu on a screen in a church, and he was playing the soundtrack live with the movie. Like playing.
How old is that dude?
Oh fuck, I have no idea. I just saw pictures of it. Like I wasn't there, but I saw like I couldn't believe the venue. It's absolutely insane. Like obviously it's a church, so big tall sitting, acoustics incredible. Yeah. So seeing Emma Ruth Rundle in there, and I think Joe Quayle supporting as well, a cello player.
Right.
So it should be a really, really amazing gig in the church.
Wow, cool. Okay, so we're going to play track off Elder Druid's last album, and it's the best track, in my opinion, they've done. What was it like up on the stage at the Siege, playing that and watching the whole place go fucking nuts?
That was probably the most special time playing Golgotha ever, because the nice thing was, Greg said we got one more song and everyone was all woo, and then he was like, it's called Golgotha, and I just saw about 10 or 11 groups of people all kind of turn around each other like, oh shit, this is why I play Golgotha. Like, that was fucking cool, because like it still seems like a fairly new song because the pandemic kind of hit pause, and
Oh yeah, true.
you know what I mean, like it was still felt kind of new, and obviously that gave people loads of time to listen to it in the meantime, in the past couple of years. So just to see everyone's reaction, kind of like, oh, they're going to play it like this song, it was like fucking nice. That was really, really cool.
Yeah. And is there anything on the new album close enough to it?
I like Armada because of the length of it and the fact that it's not, because it could have been a 10-minute song with 3 riffs that we just drag out and it goes nowhere and it's kind of boring, but it changes so much. There's so many different segments to it, which is nice, because if you go do a 10-minute song, you kind of people falling asleep. Gambit Caster's another one we haven't played live. I really liked it. It's kind of got, instead of just riffs the whole time, there's a bit of like sort of clean arpeggiated stuff with like loads of delay and everything that adds a wee bit of something to it rather than just riff the whole time.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like Golgotha didn't seem like we didn't think, oh fuck, this is the big one. Like obviously it was the
Really?
title. Yeah, well, because we hadn't played any of the stuff live until like it was the album launched Belfast, album launched Dublin, European tour, and then that was it. Then pandemic happened, so we didn't really know until people started reacting to it. And I think it being the title track helped a lot. If it was called something different, it might not have done as well. But when we did the video and everything, that helped. And the more times you listen to it, like even now hearing it, like I haven't listened to it in God knows how long. It's weird hearing the studio version because I'm just so used to playing it in practice. Once every 4 fucking months.
It is a special song, Daniel, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. I'm massive fan of Golgotha. It got me through, the album got me through lockdown. It was probably, because he just released it in the January before.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And I think I discovered it properly maybe in like February, March. And just like, yeah, it was one of my most listened to albums of 2020, which is saying something when you're not locked up for
in the house the whole time.
Yeah, the absolute heft of it. Like,
I just pair it the whole time with Nomadic Rituals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
the way I've done the playlist of it on Spotify is just got it right through, then straight into Nomadic Rituals tides. It's just
yes.
Because we played so many gigs with those guys when we started gigging in Belfast. We actually share a practice space with them. It's us and Nomadic Rituals in the same room, so we should get all of us in one room sometime and see what happens, because it's usually
face would shake.
I know we've had, it's the only place we've ever had noise complaints. It wasn't us, it was the Nomadic guys, but some woman came up and she was pretty pissed off about it. I think she was a resident who, because it's an abandoned, or not abandoned, it's like an old mill that's been kind of renovated and has practice space, and some on one floor has like a gym on another floor and a coffee shop and all this random stuff. But it's sort of like an old kind of fallen apart mill, but it's right beside all these residential areas. So we think this woman has like, because you need a code to get in the door, so the door must have been open, and she came in and went up 3 flights of stairs to locate the sound of the music, and came in and said she was going to like get the council out, they like seize all the equipment and stuff.
fuck.
Whoa.
But she hasn't came back, so
That's somebody that left the door open, I bet you.
She's probably got F. That's probably why she hasn't come back.
So I want to talk briefly as well, Jake, about your solo stuff, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, congratulations on this. Cluster of the Dark. Really recommend it. How did you go about, first of all, getting all that material together? Did you have it for a few years? I know you did some ambient stuff, wasn't it, originally? That was a long time ago, though, wasn't it?
The ambient stuff was about 12 years ago now. It was, what age was I? Like 16. So it was just like after school, sitting on the floor with a MIDI keyboard, trying to be FX Twin, basically. And, it didn't go that well, so that kind of was pushed aside. I started playing guitar, but over the years I had just clips on my phone, like wee acoustic things, which never became anything because I never played acoustic live and they didn't really work for Elder Druid. So I think it was just, it must have been, was it 2021 is when I did Lacuna, the EP. It was around June time and it came together really quickly, like March that year. My girlfriend got me like a new MIDI keyboard and I hadn't had one in so long. It was just a new toy to play with. And I thought maybe if I re-record some of this acoustic stuff and play some keys over it, maybe I'll come up with something. And it just, the whole style kind of came from nowhere. It was like sad, like like melancholic piano guitar stuff, which is like a million miles away from anything I normally do.
Right, okay.
That's what I loved about it. It was like, she would come in and be like, where did this come from? Like, why are you doing this? Are you okay? Are you depressed? And I said, no, I don't know. I go into like a kind of trance and play this like really introspective music. So I just took all the acoustic stuff I had on my phone, played a wee bit of piano over it. And it was just it was a piano preset. None of that was actually a real piano. It was all just on a MIDI keyboard with a preset over my piano, yeah. Because it sounded absolutely incredible. It was like just loads of reverb on a grand piano preset. I was playing that on a little MIDI keyboard that was like 20-something keys long.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
That's amazing. Because I was wondering, were you classically trained in any form with guitar or piano?
Absolutely not. No, not. Everyone in Elder Druid, I probably have the least knowledge of music in terms of like a theoretical sense.
Yeah.
I didn't go to music class in school because you had to play a recorder, and I got this special one-hand recorder, which was like a wooden recorder with brass keys on it that you would play all the notes with one hand. Mm-hmm. So if you went to music class and you forgot your recorder, there was a drawer of spare ones, and you would like use a disinfectant wipe, and you'd have to play one of those. But no one had replacement one-hand recorders, so I just never brought it to class and never had to do music. I was like, "Fuck music! I don't want anything to do with it." So I didn't go to class. So I had no idea. Even we started playing guitar, and I was like, "There's more time off for me. I can't play guitar." So I basically went to art class and loved it, but never went to music class and didn't care at all.
Amazing.
It was a hell of a turnaround when I started actually getting into playing guitar, and then now all this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose in one way as well, there's always, I suppose, truth to the fact that if you're left alone to your own devices rather than someone pushing you to do something, you'll eventually find what you're supposed to do in life, be it in music, art, or anything really.
Yeah.
Some are late to the table, others aren't, and so like probably what stage then were you playing with guitar and messing around with pianos?
I started playing guitar when I was about 17, and I had loads of covers on YouTube. That's what I started doing first. Like I figured out how to play like blues scales, and I was covering like Alice in Chains and Tool and stuff like that. And I had loads of covers on YouTube. I used to do one a week. I was sitting there in my school uniform with my tie on doing a wee cover, and I had a big fucking huge afro at the time as well. And you can find this stuff on YouTube, but I don't recommend anyone listening right now to go look at that. You will look at Elder Druid very differently. The piano thing was only in the last couple of years. That was literally since my girlfriend got me that keyboard and
tinkering around with it, is it?
Yeah, basically, because it just seemed so easy because there was less keys to look at. When you sit in front of a piano, it's like Jesus.
Yeah, it is intimidating.
I was like, I can work with like 20. Like I could figure something out here.
So you put together then 5 songs for the EP. Had you any help with any of the lads?
No, not really. The EP, I did pretty much everything myself. The album was, I got Dale to do like a master on the whole thing once it was finished, and then I had 2 girls singing on I think it's the first song and the third song. And then my friend Tyrell from Electric Octopus played flute on the second song.
What's his name? Tyrell
Black.
Okay, so that's no name, is it?
Yeah. he sort of changed his whole outlook in life recently, and he doesn't go by name. So I just still call him Terrell because that's what I always knew him as.
And how did you come across Aqua Tofana?
Aqua Tofana, yes. This girl, Ava Kearney, and she basically, I knew her through her boyfriend because he used to ran gigs in Belfast and stuff. But I just saw her name come up as Aqua Tofana, and they brought a song out about 2 or 3 months ago, and listened to it and was like, Jesus, like she can really sing. Like it's really, really cool, really different style as well. And I just messaged her and asked her if she wanted to get involved. And I loved what she did with it because it had the name like Morning Veil, and I had an idea in my head, and it was sort of like sad funeral kind of story, and the lyrics were perfect. Like everything she talked about was like, take another swig from the bottle, we're going to do this thing tomorrow. It was like being really anxious about going to a funeral the next day, and that's exactly the kind of thing I had in my head from the name of it and the style of it. So both her and the other girl, Claire, I think within a week they both came back with like fully fledged lyrics and audio recorded.
Fantastic.
Impressive.
We're going to play a track off my favorite off the album. Wonder now, will you be surprised at this? No.
We'll see.
There's a lovely vibe of Led Zeppelin and 2 or 3 other things going on with that, man.
Yeah, I completely forgot that Tyrell had played the flute thing, and it wasn't until when I finished all the songs in the album and got the master back from Dale, and then I put it into like what iTunes is now, like music, because I never use that anymore. I use Spotify for listening most stuff like casually, and I opened up iTunes or Apple Music, whatever it is now, and saw this thing that said Elysian Flute. I was like, what the fuck is that? And I listened to it and was like, oh my God, I totally forgot. It was like a week after I brought out Lacuna, and Terrell had said, oh, I played some flute and I see what you think, man. And I got in touch with him recently and was like, can I put that in the album? Because like, why the hell not? Like, it sounds great. He was like, yeah, of course. He was going to redo it. And I was like, no, I love it how it was. So we'll just keep it the way it was.
Yeah. It's very unusual, but it that for me just stood out a country mile. Is there any chance you'll be playing that live? Any of that music?
I don't know.
Would it be difficult?
It would. It'd be difficult. That's the main thing. A lot of people have been asking me about it recently. The main thing is I'm playing all the instruments except for the flute and singing. So I could do the guitar parts and get someone in to play. Probably would have to play an actual piano or keys with like a preset of a grand piano. But there's a lot of synthesizer stuff underneath as well, and it's generally just like a pad sound, like it's sort of a big wall of underlying noise. So it's not like extremely difficult. If I had a couple of guys in, I could probably play it live. The other thing is none of it was done to a metronome. There's no precise time, and it's all
Yeah,
very, very loose. So even some of the songs started slow and got a bit faster, just because I naturally got faster. And I kept it that way because I liked how like wrong it was. Instead of having everything like robotic, I really didn't want it to be a very perfect thing.
Do you know what? I think those songs, like even if you choose maybe 8 out of the 12 in Lustra, if you did them with 2 acoustics and maybe a harp or something, that
definitely.
you know, you could change them to suit a live venue.
Yeah,
Because they're all different in their own way, but like you wouldn't necessarily need the synths to bring them up.
Yeah,
Other things would come in there in a live setting, which would be very interesting to play. It could be fun, like, is what I'm saying.
yeah, it could. It would be a bit interesting looking up and seeing a crowd wearing not black. I can't imagine the kind of crowd that would come to like if I played that stuff live.
It'd be funny, like, because like you probably get a lot of people from who follow Elder Druid just coming along.
Yeah. It'd be like,
probably enjoying it, but not knowing how to react to it.
There must be a riff coming somewhere.
Just gonna. How do I react? It kind of sounds like that particular song could work well in like a video game, like like Dark Souls or something.
Like that's something I've been talking about using it like as a soundtrack. So I was actually actively kind of looking for some kind of independent filmmakers in Northern Ireland and Belfast and anywhere nearby that'd be interested, because I would absolutely love to see it in sort of like a black and white, like film noir style thing with that playing. I think that'd be perfect for it. But I have know nothing about that industry at all. I wouldn't know where to begin. So I've just been sort of asking like word of mouth if you hear anybody that's making like any kind of independent movie, because I haven't used any of it for anything yet. Like there's a couple videos on YouTube which is just the artwork with the music playing.
Yeah.
Aside from that, it's not.
And what's the response like to it, Jake?
Well, surprise mostly. Like, where the hell did this come from? And people seem to like it. Sold a good amount of CDs, and the main thing is people asking, "Are you going to play it live?" And that's what I just don't know. Like I'm not going to say no completely. I would love to do it if I thought I could pull it off well, but I wouldn't do it half-arsed. You can hide behind a big Elder Druid riff, but you can't hide behind hitting a wrong note on an acoustic guitar, which I very well could do.
Yeah, and especially that girl as well, Aqua. She reminds me a bit of Lana Del Rey.
Yeah, the way she put that together, having all the different, I think she had maybe like 3 or 4 vocal tracks, and it sounds like 2 completely different singers, like the high bits and the low bits. Like she's got such like dynamics in her voice. But yeah, really, really amazing. So even the one with Claire as well, we used Dale's new mixer, and it had like 18 channels on it, and he said, "Okay, we've got 18 tracks to work with here. We probably won't use them all." We used every single one of them. Like, well, we've got to do 18 versions of the song and just layered them all up and removed the ones that we didn't really need. So that's why it sounds very, very spacey and kind of ABBA style, like saturated vocals.
Yeah. Ah, man, it seemed like you had fun doing it, and as I said, it's your own project. But I would definitely recommend checking out to try and get it in a live setting with alternative instruments rather than pads and keys, man.
Harps and flutes and stuff. I think that would work as well.
I'm sure there's some good choral groups and societies around Belfast, man. You've got a fantastic, talented pool of people up there in all types of music. So
absolutely, yeah.
You could do it in that church that you mentioned earlier as well.
Well, this is the thing. The Emma Ruth Blundell gig coming up, I was supposed to be playing that show, and like I didn't. Nothing was confirmed because I didn't want to confirm it, and I ended up turning it down because I love Emma Ruth Blundell and Joe Quayle. And I think how nervous I would be about trying to perform that kind of stuff live would outweigh
the first time as well
of seeing her. And I'd much rather just go there, have a few beers, if you can even have beers in the bloody church, and then like sit and watch her without any anxiety about it. Because it would have totally ruined the experience if I the night before, like, oh Jesus, like my first gig acoustically in a church, like It's not as if you're playing in a small bar or something. You've got to make sure you're nailing that.
Yeah.
So I passed that up just to go and enjoy the show.
Yeah. Now, you were also doing a promotion company as well, Jake. Is there any gigs there you want to promote there before we finish up?
Well, it's mainly just Crypto Riff, 1st of July. Then the Elephant Tree one in October. There's about 3 more.
That you can't announce yet.
I can't say anything at the minute, but towards the end of the year, there should be a few more. People keep an eye on Dark Arts Promotions.
How are you gig-wise, as in venues? How are you for venues up there? Are you struggling there at the moment? Are they all booked out?
Well, it's not too bad. Voodoo, as you know, is the central hub to the metal scene. Limelight, people are kind of in two minds about it because the bunches are kind of heavy-handed sometimes. There's like a guardrail, Limelight 2, which I think Malevolence played recently, and a lot of people were pissed off about that because they couldn't enjoy themselves the way they wanted to. It's still a good place, but Voodoo is pretty much the main hub for all this. So if you don't get a date in Voodoo, it makes it a hell of a lot more difficult trying to get a smaller venue somewhere else.
There's a speakeasy as well, isn't there?
There is, yeah. I'm not sure what's happening there because the old Student Union building got knocked down and they're rebuilding it. So the speakeasy where it is at the minute, the one you were in for the Warnout show, that's I think that's going to be temporary, and then that might be moving back just down the road a wee bit to the brand new building that used to be the Mandela Hall.
Oh, so, right, okay, the Mandela Hall, Jesus.
Yeah, they completely leveled that place and rebuilt it from the ground up. So
is that going to be an entertainment centre, is it, or what is it going to be?
It's like the Student Union for Queen's University, but they had Mandela Hall, Bar Sub, and Bonnety Bar before. So you had like some huge gigs in there. But that current speakeasy they have at the minute was like a scaled down version of all the entertainment places they had in Mandela Hall.
Okay.
So I reckon it's just temporary, and then probably going to move that right back into the big new fancy building. So that'll be good as well. There's more venues opening up. I'm not sure if it'll just be one or if they'll have 2 or 3 like we did last time.
Yeah, it's just frustrating for us down in Cork that we only seem to have one at the moment that we can count on, and Cypress Avenue is actually too big for a lot of the bands that are coming through. So
it's just Fred's, isn't it?
It's only Fred's, yeah. So Evans, Dead Cult, and Mark Morrissey's Paranoid Beast are alternating. I don't know, is it maybe 2 gigs a month there, which is grand. But like, you know what's going to happen now is there's going to be a saturation point again.
Yeah, totally.
Where people will start fucking going to gigs or start moaning over it.
Well, there's a few other places in Belfast recently. The Deer's Head, somewhere that the guys in the Live Free tour booking, they put a load of gigs on Deer's Head, and I saw it's actually a lot bigger than I thought it was. It's like an upstairs venue above like a pretty traditional bar. It's like a big, long, narrow venue with a pretty good stage, you know. So that's somewhere else. I just didn't know very much about it. I've only been to it once. But Voodoo's just the crown jewel in Belfast. It's the ultimate place for it, like especially heavy music. So
yeah,
that's the first place I always look at.
Yeah, long may that continue. Okay, I'm going to finish it up then, Jake. Brilliant talking to you, man. And just as I said, you've anytime you want to come on the show for the new album, bring the lads on, or maybe I can interview you up in Belfast. I prefer that.
I'll have to book in about 6 years in advance the amount of time it takes to get hopefully it won't be much longer. This is the last I'm going to be saying. Hopefully next time I talk, I'll have an actual date for you.
Yeah, cool. And check out the lads. They're playing in Limerick. Is it this weekend, is it?
Dublin Friday, Limerick Saturday, Belfast Sunday.
And then the big one then, Crypt of the Rift, is July the 1st.
Yeah.
With Elder, Druid, Soothsayer, 10 Ton Slug, Nomadus, and True Home.
Lovely. Thanks so much for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah, glad.
Good talking to you.
Okay, lads, that's it. Thanks again, Daniel, for joining us as well.
No worries.
See you
Support
later.
your local metal scene.